On November 24th, 1971, a man known only by a fake name boarded a commercial airline and pulled off one of the most daring hijacking and escapes in aviation history. A crime so brazen and calculated that it remains the only unsolved air piracy case in commercial aviation history. This is the story of D.B. Cooper. The year was 1971, just a regular Thanksgiving Eve, when an unassuming man wearing a business suit and carrying a black attaché case approached the flight counter of Northwest Orient Airlines at Portland International Airport. He gave his name as Dan Cooper and purchased a one-way ticket to Seattle with cash. The DB name would come later as a result of a media typo that just stuck. According to everyone that saw him on that now fateful day, Cooper was the absolute definition of unremarkable. He was in his mid-40s, around 5'10", weighing 180 pounds with close-set piercing brown eyes and tanned skin. A real John Doe, Mr. Average. He was so unremarkable that shortly after takeoff, when Cooper handed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner, she just assumed he was another lonely businessman trying to give her his phone number. As she dropped the note unopened into her purse, Cooper leaned close and whispered, "Miss, you better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence complied, sitting beside him and nervously asking to see the bomb. Opening his briefcase, she saw 8 red cylinders attached to red wires and a large battery. His demands, $200,000 in U.S. banknotes, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck to refuel in Seattle. While it may sound strange in today's policy of not negotiating with terrorists, this was the 70s when sky pirates existed and their demands were met. And this is what Cooper was betting on. By 5:39 p.m., more than an hour after sunset, the aircraft had landed at Seattle Airport. Cooper directed the jet to an isolated, brightly lit section of the runway edge and ordered all windows closed, knowing that snipers would take their shot if they could. Then came the exchange. Receiving his ransom, the passengers and all but one of the flight attendants were left on the tarmac. From here, Cooper was to make an even more dramatic escape. Taking off, his instructions to the flight crew were oddly specific. Head towards Mexico City, but go slow. So slow that the plane would be on the edge of stalling while descending to an altitude of 10,000 feet with a landing gear down. At 8 p.m., an air pressure warning light flashed in the cockpit where all crew had been instructed to stay, indicating that the aft air stair had been opened. The crew would offer assistance via the intercom, but Cooper refused, and this would be the last time anyone would ever hear from him again. At around 8:13 p.m., while the plane flew low over southwest Washington, Cooper put on a parachute and leapt from the rear air stair into the darkness. A little over 2 hours later, at 10:15 p.m., the plane lands at Reno Airport for refueling, but Cooper is nowhere to be found. What happened? Where did he go? These questions fueled FBI investigations for years. In fact, it was as late as 2016 that the FBI finally officially suspended active investigation of the case. In the decades following Cooper's disappearance, they would conduct several recreations, aerial reconnaissance missions, and even a submarine to search Lake Merwin. It seemed that Cooper had disappeared into thin air, only leaving behind a black clip-on tie, a mother-of-pearl tie clip, and 8 cigarette butts. Of Cooper himself, though, not a trace. The majority of experts believe that he probably did not survive the jump, but his remains to this day have never been discovered. And the money, you ask? Well, the FBI had the serial numbers for every bill and offered all sorts of rewards. But it wasn't until 1980 that any of the missing money was ever found. While looking for firewood along the Columbia River, an 8-year-old boy found 3 packets of badly damaged $20 bills. These bills were confirmed to be part of Cooper's collected ransom haul. So if D.B. Cooper did die in a botched parachuting escape, where's the rest of the money? And if he did survive and make off with all that cash, how come none has yet turned up in circulation? We may never know the answer to the mystery that is D.B. Cooper. Who he is and what happened on the night of November 24th, 1971 will probably always just be theory, speculation, and best guesses. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you want to see more in the series of the world's most mysterious people, then hit that subscribe and notification bell as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.